Get out. The VIP room is not for people like you. This is the last time I will repeat myself, the receptionist said to the black woman ready to check into her reserved room. But I booked this 3 weeks ago and already paid. Maya, the black woman replied, showing her confirmation. Why is it suddenly unavailable? The hotel manager's expression hardened. We have given the VIP room to a more befitting client. You clearly don't belong here. This isn't some budget motel. We have standards. And what standards are those exactly? Maya asked, her voice dangerously quiet. Ma'am, you're causing a disturbance. We have another standard room for you to take, or you will be arrested for disturbing the hotel's peace. The hotel manager threatened. But what they didn't know was that the woman they were discriminating against, the woman they were about to arrest for causing trouble, was actually their boss. And she was recording every single discriminatory word. As we delve into this story, if you believe everyone should be respected no matter who they are, hit the subscribe button, share this video to others, and type justice in the comments. Maya Richardson wasn't born into wealth. 25 years ago, she was pushing a housekeeping cart down the hallways of the Grand Plaza Hotel in downtown Chicago, earning $8 an hour and dreaming of something bigger. She was 19 years old, a single mother working double shifts just to keep the lights on in her tiny studio apartment. But Maya had something that money couldn't buy: vision, determination, and an unshakable belief that every person deserves to be treated with dignity, no matter what they looked like or where they came from. While she scrubbed toilets and changed bed sheets, she watched everything. She studied how the hotel operated, how guests were treated, and most importantly, how certain guests were treated better than others, based on nothing more than their appearance or the color of their skin. She saw wealthy white guests getting upgraded to suites they hadn't paid for, while black families with reservations were told there were complications with their bookings. She witnessed staff members laughing behind closed doors about guests who didn't belong in their establishment, and every single instance of discrimination she witnessed fueled her determination to one day change the entire industry. Maya didn't just work at that hotel, she studied it. During her breaks, she would sit in the employee cafeteria with hospitality textbooks she borrowed from the library. She learned about hotel management, customer service excellence, and most importantly, the financial side of the business. While other employees complained about difficult guests, Maya was calculating occupancy rates and profit margins in her head. After 3 years of working every available shift, Maya had saved enough money to enroll in night classes at the local community college. She studied business administration while working full-time. By the time Maya graduated with her business degree, she had already identified the biggest problem in the hotel industry. Most establishments focused on profit over people, leading to the exact kind of discrimination she had witnessed firsthand. She knew there was a better way, a more profitable way, to run hotels. Treat every guest with excellence, regardless of their background, and they'll become loyal customers for life. Maya's first break came when she approached the owner of a failing budget hotel with a proposal. She offered to manage the property for a share of the profits, betting everything on her belief that exceptional service could turn any hotel around. The owner, desperate and facing bankruptcy, agreed to give the young woman a chance. Within 18 months, Maya had transformed that failing hotel into one of the most profitable properties in the city. She implemented strict customer service standards, hired diverse staff, and most importantly, she made sure every single guest felt valued from the moment they walked through the door. Word spread quickly. This was the hotel where everyone was treated like royalty. The success of that first hotel became the foundation of what would eventually become Richardson Hospitality Group. Over the next 15 years, Maya acquired property after property, always with the same philosophy: dignity and excellence for every guest, regardless of their appearance, their accent, or their background. But Maya never forgot where she came from. That's why, even as her empire grew to include 47 luxury properties across 12 states, she continued her practice of visiting hotels undercover. She would book rooms under false names, dress modestly, and experience her properties exactly as a regular guest would. This wasn't just about quality control. It was about ensuring that the discrimination she had witnessed as a young housekeeper never happened in any Richardson property. Maya's properties consistently ranked highest in customer satisfaction. Her staff knew that discrimination of any kind was grounds for immediate termination, and her hotels had become known as places where everyone truly was welcome. Which brings us to 3 days ago, when Maya received the call she had been waiting for. The Pinnacle Hotels chain, a struggling collection of 15 properties, known more for their declining service than their luxury amenities, was finally ready to sell. Maya had been watching Pinnacle for months, hearing rumors about their discriminatory practices and poor management. The acquisition had been completed in complete secrecy. Maya's lawyers had structured the deal through a series of shell companies, ensuring that Pinnacle's current management had no idea who their new owner was. The plan was simple. Maya would spend a few days experiencing Pinnacle properties as a regular guest, documenting any issues she discovered before revealing her ownership and implementing necessary changes. That's why, just 2 days after signing the papers that made her the owner of Pinnacle Hotels, Maya had booked the VIP suite at their flagship property under the name Maria Robinson. She had deliberately chosen a modest outfit and traveled without her usual entourage, wanting to experience the hotel exactly as any other guest would. The confirmation email was crystal clear. VIP suite, $800 per night, prepaid in full. Maya had used her personal credit card, the same one she had used for hundreds of undercover hotel visits over the years. Everything was legitimate, everything was confirmed, and everything was paid for. But the real test wasn't just about room availability. It was about how the staff would treat a black woman traveling alone, requesting their best accommodations. Maya had a sinking feeling that Pinnacle Hotels was about to fail this test spectacularly. The night before her trip, Maya had held an emergency board meeting with her senior executives. "I want everyone on standby," she had told them. "If what I suspect is happening at Pinnacle is true, we're going to need to move quickly to clean the house." Thomas, her executive assistant, had prepared detailed files on every Pinnacle employee, from management down to housekeeping staff. Diane had assembled a team of Richardson's best managers ready to step in if immediate changes were needed. Maya's legal team had prepared termination papers and discrimination lawsuits, just in case. "Are you sure you want to do this undercover?" Thomas had asked during their final planning session. "We could just walk in, announce the acquisition, and start implementing changes immediately." Maya had shaken her head firmly. "The only way to truly understand what's happening in these hotels is to experience it myself. If we're going to fix Pinnacle's culture of discrimination, I need to document exactly how bad it really is." Later that day, Maya approached the Pinnacle Hotel's front desk at exactly 3:30 p.m., pulling her modest rolling suitcase behind her. She had deliberately chosen simple business attire: a black pantsuit from a department store, minimal jewelry, and comfortable flats. This wasn't about making an impression. It was about experiencing the hotel exactly as any regular guest would. The marble lobby was impressive, with soaring ceilings, crystal chandeliers, and the kind of understated luxury that whispered rather than shouted about wealth. Maya took it all in, mentally comparing it to her own Richardson properties, noting areas where service could be improved. 2 staff members were working behind the long marble front desk. The first was a young woman with perfectly styled blonde hair and a smile that looked like it came from customer service training. The second was an older man in his 30s, adjusting his tie as he processed paperwork. Maya approached the desk and waited. And waited. Both staff members were clearly aware of her presence. She was standing directly in front of them, but neither made eye contact or acknowledged her arrival. The blonde receptionist continued typing on her computer, occasionally glancing at Maya, but never offering assistance. The male clerk shuffled papers, organized brochures, and found various busy work that somehow prevented him from providing customer service. After 3 full minutes of being ignored, Maya cleared her throat politely. "Excuse me, I'd like to check in." The blonde receptionist finally looked up with an expression that suggested Maya was interrupting something important. "Name?" she asked curtly. No greeting, no welcome, no acknowledgement that Maya was a guest in their supposedly 5-star establishment. "Maria Robinson." Maya replied using her pseudonym. "I have a reservation." The receptionist's fingers moved slowly across the keyboard, taking far longer than necessary to locate a simple reservation. Maya noticed her eyes kept drifting up to assess Maya's appearance. Her off-the-rack suit, her modest purse, her natural hairstyle. "Ugh," the receptionist said after what felt like an eternity. "I'm showing a reservation, but there seems to be a problem." Maya felt her stomach tighten, but kept her voice calm. "What kind of problem?" "The VIP suite you booked, it's no longer available." "What do you mean it's no longer available?" Maya asked, pulling out her phone to show the confirmation email. "I booked this 3 weeks ago. I have a confirmation number and I've already been charged." The receptionist barely glanced at Maya's phone screen. Sometimes these online bookings have issues. The system doesn't always update properly. Maya's voice remained steady despite her growing anger. "This wasn't an online booking. I called directly and spoke with someone named Jennifer. She confirmed the VIP suite, took my credit card information, and sent me a confirmation email. $800 was charged to my card immediately." "Well, I'm showing that the suite is unavailable," the receptionist replied with practiced indifference. "We can offer you a standard room instead." "At the same price I paid for the VIP suite?" "That would be the same rate, yes." Maya couldn't believe what she was hearing. "So you want me to pay VIP suite prices for a standard room because you gave away my confirmed reservation?" The receptionist's fake smile became even more strained. "Ma'am, we're trying to accommodate you despite the booking complications." "Booking complications that didn't exist until I arrived," Maya pointed out. "My reservation was confirmed this morning when I called to verify my check-in time." That's when the male clerk looked up from his paperwork, his expression making it clear that he found Maya's persistence annoying. "Ma'am, the hotel management reserves the right to modify reservations based on operational needs." Maya felt the familiar burn of discrimination, but maintained her composure. "Operational needs, or did someone else want my suite?" Before either staff member could answer, Robert Keller's voice boomed across the lobby. "Peterson, good to see you again." Maya watched as both staff members' demeanor transformed instantly. The blonde receptionist's fake smile became genuine. The male clerk straightened his tie and rushed around the counter to greet Keller personally. "Mr. Keller, welcome back, sir." The clerk, apparently Peterson, gushed with enthusiasm. Maya hadn't seen moments earlier. "How was your flight from Chicago?" "Delayed as usual," Keller replied, his expensive suit and platinum watch catching the lobby's crystal chandelier light. "But I'm here now and ready for that VIP suite. You know how I like my accommodations." Maya's blood ran cold as she realized what was happening. Her VIP suite, the one she had booked and paid for weeks in advance, was about to be given to someone who hadn't even made a reservation. "Of course, Mr. Keller," Peterson replied smoothly. "We have your usual suite ready and waiting." Maya stepped forward. "Excuse me, That's my suite. I have a confirmed reservation. Peterson turned to her with barely concealed irritation. Ma'am, as I explained, your booking had complications. No complications. Maya interrupted firmly. You're giving my paid reservation to someone who just walked in without a booking. Keller looked Maya up and down with obvious disdain. I think there's been some misunderstanding. I'm a platinum member here. I've been coming to this hotel for 8 years. And I have a confirmed reservation that I paid for 3 weeks ago, Maya replied evenly. The blonde receptionist jumped in quickly. Mr. Keller, there was a small issue with the room assignment, but we've resolved it. Your suite is ready. Maya couldn't believe the blatant favoritism she was witnessing. So let me understand this correctly. You're canceling my confirmed, paid reservation to give my room to someone who doesn't even have a booking? Peterson's patience was clearly exhausted. Ma'am, Mr. Keller is one of our most valued guests. We always ensure his comfort and satisfaction. And I'm not valued because... The question hung in the air like a challenge. Both staff members looked uncomfortable, realizing they were about to say something that could get them in legal trouble. Keller had no such hesitation. Because some guests are more important than others, he said bluntly. I spend serious money here. I bring corporate groups. I have relationships with the management. Maya felt her phone buzzing. Probably Thomas checking on her status, but she ignored it. This was exactly the kind of discrimination she had suspected was happening at Pinnacle Hotels. So my confirmed reservation means nothing because Mr. Keller spends more money? That's how business works, Peterson replied with a shrug that made Maya want to fire him immediately. But then Keller made the mistake that would ultimately destroy his relationship with every Richardson property nationwide. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a thick money clip filled with $100 bills. Peterson, I think we can make this work for everyone, Keller said, peeling off several bills and sliding them across the marble counter while maintaining direct eye contact with Maya. I'm sure there's a way to ensure I get proper accommodations. Maya watched in shock as Peterson's hand immediately covered the money, making it disappear beneath the counter with practiced efficiency. Mr. Keller, I think we can definitely work something out, Peterson said. His voice now warm with the enthusiasm that only cash bribes could inspire. The blonde receptionist turned back to Maya with renewed confidence. Ma'am, unfortunately, your reservation has been canceled due to overbooking issues. Overbooking issues? Maya repeated incredulously. 5 minutes ago you said it was booking complications. Now it's overbooking. Which lie are you sticking with? There's no need to get hostile, Peterson warned. We're offering you alternative accommodations at a very reasonable rate. Maya pulled out her phone and showed them the confirmation email one more time. I want the VIP suite I booked and paid for. I want the accommodations that were confirmed 3 weeks ago and charged to my credit card. The blonde receptionist didn't even look at the confirmation. That reservation has been canceled due to operational requirements. You mean it's been canceled because he bribed you, Maya said, gesturing toward Keller. Keller's face turned red with indignation. I resent that accusation. I made a contribution to ensure excellent service. A bribe, Maya said flatly. You made a bribe to steal my room. That's when Peterson made the decision that would ultimately cost him his job. Instead of trying to resolve the situation professionally, instead of honoring Maya's legitimate reservation, instead of recognizing the discrimination happening right in front of him, he chose to escalate. Ma'am, if you continue making accusations and causing disruptions in our lobby, I'm going to have to call security, Peterson threatened, his hand moving toward his radio. Maya looked around the lobby and realized that other guests were watching this confrontation unfold. Some were clearly uncomfortable with what they were witnessing. Others seemed to approve of how the difficult guest was being handled. But what none of them knew, not Peterson, not the blonde receptionist, not Robert Keller, not the guests filming with their phones, was that the woman being denied her reservation owned the building they were standing in. The guest they were discriminating against employed every person behind that front desk. The customer they were trying to force out was about to force all of them out of their careers. Maya Richardson had just witnessed enough discrimination to justify firing the entire front desk staff. But first, she needed to document every single word, every bribe, every moment of the systematic racism that was about to cost Pinnacle Hotels everything. The woman they thought they could intimidate was about to become their worst nightmare. Within seconds of Peterson reaching for his radio, 2 large security guards appeared in the lobby as if they had been waiting for this exact moment. Maya noticed how quickly they responded, almost like they had dealt with situations like this before, situations involving guests who didn't belong. "We have a situation at the front desk," Peterson spoke into his radio, his voice loud enough for the entire lobby to hear. "Guest refusing to comply with hotel policy." The first security guard, a tall man with military bearing, approached Maya with his hand resting on his radio. "Ma'am, I'm going to need you to step back from the counter." Maya held up her phone, showing the confirmation email clearly visible on the screen. "Officer, I have a confirmed reservation for the VIP suite. I paid $800 3 weeks ago. Here's my confirmation number. Here's my payment receipt." The security guard barely glanced at her phone. "Ma'am, the hotel management has the right to modify reservations as they see fit." "Modify?" Maya's voice carried a dangerous edge. "They didn't modify anything. They stole my room and gave it to someone who bribed them." Peterson whispered something urgent to Keller, who nodded and stepped back with a satisfied smirk. Maya caught fragments of their conversation, something about handling difficult guests and maintaining hotel standards. The collusion was so blatant it was almost comical. "Ma'am," the second security guard joined the first, "we're going to need you to lower your voice and accept the alternative accommodations being offered." Maya looked around the lobby and realized what was happening. Other guests were staring, some filming with their phones, all witnessing a black woman being surrounded by security guards for the crime of wanting to stay in a room she had paid for. The optics were terrible, but that was exactly what Peterson was counting on: public embarrassment to force her compliance. "I want to speak to your general manager," Maya said firmly. "I am the front desk manager and I'm handling this situation," Peterson replied, stepping forward with renewed confidence now that security had arrived. "Ma'am, due to your disruptive behavior and refusal to accept reasonable accommodations, your reservation is hereby canceled." "Canceled?" Maya's voice rose despite herself. "You can't cancel a confirmed paid reservation because I objected to discrimination." "We can cancel any reservation for disruptive behavior," Peterson said smugly. "It's clearly stated in our terms and conditions." Maya felt her phone buzzing with texts from Thomas and the board members, but she couldn't check them with security guards flanking her. "Fine. Cancel my reservation. But I want a full refund immediately." Peterson's smile became even more predatory. "Unfortunately, due to processing fees and the short notice of cancellation, we can only offer a partial refund. After administrative costs, you'll receive approximately $400 back." Administrative costs? Maya couldn't believe what she was hearing. "You're stealing my room, having me surrounded by security, and now you're keeping half my money?" "Ma'am, those are the terms you agreed to when you made the reservation," Peterson replied, clearly enjoying every moment of this power play. The first security guard stepped closer. "Ma'am, if you continue raising your voice, we're going to have to escort you from the premises." If you were in Maya's shoes, what would you have done? Would you give up the room and move into another, or stand your ground and be cheated with half the refund. Tell us your thoughts in the comments, and click on the subscribe button now to not miss this story. Maya looked around the lobby one more time, noting the faces watching this spectacle unfold. She thought about Thomas and Diane, about the board members waiting for her call, about the 25 years she had spent building an empire based on dignity and respect for every guest. This was exactly the kind of discrimination she had dedicated her career to fighting. But she also knew that getting arrested, even wrongfully, would complicate everything. The story would become about a disruptive guest rather than about systemic racism. She needed to stay in the hotel to document everything that was happening. "Wait," Maya said, holding up her hand as the security guards moved to escort her out. "I'll take the smaller room." Peterson raised an eyebrow, clearly not expecting her to back down. "At the same rate you paid for the suite?" Every fiber of Maya's being wanted to refuse, but she forced herself to nod. "At the same rate." "Excellent," Peterson said, his voice dripping with condescension. "I'm so glad we could reach an understanding. Officers, the situation is resolved." As the security guard stepped back, Peterson handed Maya a new key card. "Room 237, it's on the second floor near the service elevators. I'm sure it will be adequate for your needs." Maya took the key card, her fingers trembling slightly with suppressed rage. But as she walked toward the elevator, she quickly pulled out her phone and sent a group text to all her board members. "Discrimination confirmed. Keep monitoring remotely. This is worse than we thought." The response from board chair Eleanor came immediately. "Documented everything. Legal standing by. Proceed with caution." Room 237 was everything Maya had feared it would be. Located directly next to the service elevators, the constant noise of housekeeping carts and maintenance equipment created a steady din that would make sleep impossible. The room itself was poorly maintained. Stained carpet, flickering lights, and a window that looked directly onto the hotel's loading dock. This wasn't just a smaller room. This was punishment. This was the room they gave to guests they wanted to discourage from ever coming back. Maya immediately called the front desk. "This is Maria Robinson in room 237. There are several maintenance issues I need to report." The voice that answered was different from the receptionist she had dealt with earlier. Younger, less polished. "Oh, hi, Miss Robinson. What seems to be the problem?" Maya detailed the flickering lights, the stained carpet, the broken air conditioning, and the excessive noise from the service area. She spoke calmly and professionally, giving them every opportunity to provide proper customer service. "I'm sorry about those issues," the young woman said, and Maya could hear genuine sympathy in her voice. "Let me check what other rooms we have available." There was a pause, then Maya heard muffled voices in the background. When the receptionist came back on the line, her tone had changed completely. "I'm sorry, Miss Robinson, but that's all we have available for your type of booking. The maintenance issues will be addressed when housekeeping has time." Maya's blood ran cold. "My type of booking? Oh, I mean, discount bookings, online reservations, that type of booking." But Maya had heard the hesitation, the coaching from someone in the background. She knew exactly what type they were really referring to. As Maya hung up the phone, she heard voices in the hallway. Housekeeping staff pushing their carts past her door. What she heard next made her grab her phone to start recording. "Did you see the commotion in the lobby earlier?" one voice said. "Oh yeah," another replied with a laugh. "Another one trying to get into the VIP suite. Peterson handled it though." Maya's hand tightened around her phone as she documented every word. These weren't isolated incidents. This was a systematic pattern of discrimination that Robert Keller was actively paying to maintain. She immediately began taking photos of her room's poor conditions, sending them in real time to her board members along with voice notes, documenting everything she had witnessed. Thomas responded within minutes. This is lawsuit-level discrimination. Eleanor wants to move immediately. But Maya wasn't done gathering evidence yet. She decided to test the hotel's amenities, curious to see how far the discrimination extended. The hotel pool area told the entire story. Maya approached the attendant, a young man in his 20s who looked her up and down before speaking. "Can I help you?" His tone suggested she definitely didn't belong there. "I'm a guest. Room 237. I'd like to use the pool." "Do you have your room key?" Maya showed her key card. The attendant examined it far longer than necessary before handing it back. "Pool closes in 30 minutes, he said curtly, despite the posted hours showing it stayed open for 3 more hours. "I'll just swim for a few minutes then," Maya replied. "You'll need to shower first." Health regulations. Maya looked around and noticed that white guests were entering the pool area without being asked to shower, without having their room keys scrutinized, without being told about early closing times. At the hotel restaurant, the hostess tried to seat Maya at a table directly next to the kitchen, despite the dining room being nearly empty. When Maya requested a different table, she was told that was the only available seating for walk-in guests, despite having made a reservation. The pattern was unmistakable, documented, and about to become very expensive for Pinnacle hotels. But it was at the concierge desk that Maya met the one bright spot in this entire nightmare. A young black woman named Sarah, who looked genuinely distressed by what she had witnessed in the lobby. "Miss Robinson?" Sarah approached Maya cautiously. "I'm Sarah Williams, one of the junior staff members. I wanted to apologize for what happened earlier. That wasn't right." Maya studied Sarah's face and saw genuine concern, not the fake sympathy she had been receiving from other staff members. "Thank you, Sarah. I appreciate that. I've worked here for 2 years." Sarah continued, looking around nervously to make sure no managers were watching. "And I've seen this happen before. It's not right, and I'm sorry you had to experience it." "How often does this happen?" Maya asked quietly. Sarah hesitated, clearly torn between loyalty to her job and her conscience. "More often than it should, Mr. Keller. He has arrangements with management, and some guests get treated differently than others." Maya felt her phone buzzing with an incoming video call from Eleanor. "Sarah, thank you for your honesty. That means more than you know." As Sarah walked away, Maya answered the video call from her board chair. Eleanor Patterson was a distinguished woman in her 60s who had been Maya's mentor in the corporate world and now served as chairman of Richardson Hospitality Group's board. "Maya, show me the room," Eleanor said without preamble. Maya walked around the room, pointing her phone camera at the stained carpet, the flickering lights, the view of the loading dock, and the constant noise from the service elevators. $800 for this? Eleanor's voice was ice-cold with fury. $800 that I'm not getting refunded because of processing fees, Maya replied. Eleanor, this isn't just poor customer service. This is systematic discrimination that goes right to the top of their management structure. I've been listening to your voice messages and watching your text updates, Eleanor said. Maya, this is actionable. We have everything we need for a discrimination lawsuit that will shut this place down. Not yet, Maya replied firmly. I want to document everything. I want it to be so overwhelming that there's no way they can deny it or claim it was isolated incidents. Eleanor nodded slowly. How much more evidence do you need? Maya looked around her punishment room, thinking about Keller's smug face, Peterson's cruel smile, and the systematic way every staff member had participated in her discrimination. Give me until tomorrow morning, Maya said. I want to see how far this goes. And Eleanor, I want you to prepare termination letters for everyone involved. When I reveal who I am, I want them gone immediately. Consider it done, Eleanor replied. Maya, be careful. And remember, you're not just documenting discrimination anymore. You're building a case that's going to change this entire company." As Maya ended the video call, she realized she wasn't just staying in a substandard room anymore. She was sitting in the center of what would soon become the most expensive discrimination lawsuit in hospitality history. And tomorrow morning, every person who had participated in her humiliation was going to learn exactly who they had been discriminating against. The woman they had tried to force out of her own hotel was about to force all of them out of their jobs. The next morning, Maya decided to test just how far the discrimination would go. She had spent a sleepless night in her punishment room, listening to service elevators and documenting every detail of her experience. Now, with her original VIP suite booking confirmation still valid on her phone, she was going to see if she could access the executive lounge that came with her reservation. The executive lounge was located on the 15th floor, a luxurious space with panoramic city views, complimentary breakfast, and evening cocktails. Maya's original booking included full access to this area. She had the email confirmation to prove it. As the elevator doors opened on the 15th floor, Maya could hear laughter and conversation echoing from the lounge. She approached the entrance, where a staff member in a crisp uniform stood guard like a sentry protecting exclusive territory. "Good morning," Maya said politely, showing her phone screen. "I'm Maria Robinson. I have executive lounge access with my VIP suite booking." The staff member, whose name tag read Marcus, barely glanced at her confirmation. "I'm sorry, ma'am, but this area is for VIP guests only." "I am a VIP guest," Maya replied, keeping her voice level. "I booked the VIP suite. Here's my confirmation showing lounge access is included." Marcus looked uncomfortable, glancing over his shoulder toward the lounge interior. "Ma'am, I'm going to need to check with management about your access." That's when Maya heard a familiar laugh from inside the lounge, Robert Keller's voice booming with confidence and entitlement. She stepped slightly to the side and could see him through the entrance, sitting at the best table by the windows, a full breakfast spread in front of him, and what looked like his third mimosa of the morning. "Is that Mr. Keller?" Maya asked. Marcus's entire demeanor changed at the mention of Keller's name. "Mr. Keller is one of our most valued guests. He has permanent executive lounge privileges." "And I have executive lounge privileges that I paid for," Maya replied. "So why can't I enter?" Before Marcus could answer, 2 security guards appeared in the hallway. The same ones from the lobby confrontation the day before. Maya hadn't called for security, which meant someone had been watching her movements and had summoned them preemptively. "Ma'am, we're going to need you to step away from the lounge entrance," the first guard said. "Why? I have legitimate access. Mr. Keller has requested no disturbances during his breakfast meeting," the second guard explained, as if that somehow trumped Maya's paid reservation. Maya felt her blood pressure rising. "Mr. Keller has requested, so one guest can ban another guest from accessing amenities they paid for?" "Ma'am, we need to keep our VIP guests comfortable," Marcus said weakly. "I am a VIP guest." Maya's voice finally rose above her carefully controlled calm. "I paid for VIP access. I have the confirmation right here." Through the lounge entrance, she could see Keller turn toward the commotion. When he spotted Maya, his face broke into a satisfied smirk. He raised his mimosa glass in a mock toast, clearly enjoying the spectacle of her being denied access to the space he was occupying, the space she had actually paid for. The security guards moved closer, effectively blocking any chance Maya had of entering the lounge. "Ma'am, if you continue causing a disturbance, we'll have to escort you back to your room." Maya looked at Keller's smirking face, at the security guards treating her like a criminal, at Marcus, who couldn't meet her eyes because he knew this was wrong. In that moment, she made a decision that would change everything. "I need to make a phone call," Maya said quietly. She walked to a quiet corner of the hallway, far enough from the guards and staff to speak privately, but close enough that Keller could still see her through the lounge windows. She dialed the conference line that connected directly to Richardson Hospitality Group's boardroom. "Emergency board meeting now," Maya said when Eleanor answered. "Get everyone on the line immediately." Within 2 minutes, she had all 7 board members on a conference call, including Eleanor, Jonathan, Thomas, and the company's legal counsel. "Maya, what's happening?" Eleanor's voice was tense with concern. "I've seen enough," Maya said, her voice carrying a tone her board members had learned to recognize, the tone that meant someone was about to lose their job. "It's worse than we thought. This isn't just individual discrimination. This is systematic, institutionalized racism that goes from the top down." She quickly summarized the executive lounge incident, Keller's smirking reaction, and the pattern of discrimination she had documented over the past 18 hours. "They're not just denying me access to amenities I paid for," Maya continued. "They're allowing one racist guest to dictate who gets to use hotel facilities. This is a civil rights violation on multiple levels." Jonathan Webb, the board's legal expert, spoke up. "Maya, we have enough for a federal discrimination lawsuit right now. This is textbook violation of public accommodations law." "I want more than a lawsuit," Maya replied, her voice ice cold with determination. "I want heads to roll. Activate Plan B immediately. I want the entire board here first thing tomorrow morning." "Maya," Eleanor said carefully, "once we do this, there's no going back. Every employee involved in this discrimination will be terminated. The media attention will be massive." "Good," Maya said firmly. "I want it to be massive. I want this to be a warning to every hotel in America that this kind of discrimination will cost you everything." Thomas's voice came through the phone. "Maya, I can have the entire transition team in place by morning. New management, legal documentation, everything." "Do it," Maya ordered. "And Thomas, I want Robert Keller's platinum status revoked and a lifetime ban from all Richardson properties. If he wants to buy his way into VIP treatment, he can do it somewhere else." "Consider it done," Thomas replied with obvious satisfaction. Eleanor's voice was firm with resolve. "Maya, the board unanimously supports whatever action you want to take. This ends tomorrow." After ending the call, Maya walked back toward the elevator, passing the executive lounge where Keller was still holding court. Their eyes met through the glass, and Maya gave him a smile that made his own smirk falter slightly. He had no idea that the woman he was discriminating against had just ordered his permanent banishment from an empire of 47 luxury hotels. But Maya wasn't done documenting the discrimination yet. She wanted to confront Peterson directly about everything she had witnessed and recorded. She found him in the lobby, schmoozing with potential guests and playing the role of the professional hotel manager. Maya approached him with her phone discreetly recording the conversation. "Mr. Peterson, I'd like to discuss the treatment I've received at your hotel." Peterson's fake smile appeared instantly. "Miss Robinson, I hope you're finding your accommodations satisfactory." "You mean the room next to the service elevators with broken air conditioning and stained carpets? The room I'm paying VIP suite prices for?" Peterson's smile never wavered. "I'm sorry you're not completely satisfied, but sometimes these accommodations are necessary for operational efficiency." "Operational efficiency?" Maya repeated. "Is that what you call denying black guests access to amenities they paid for, while allowing white guests to use facilities they haven't even reserved?" Peterson looked around nervously, clearly uncomfortable with the direction of the conversation. "Ma'am, I think you're misinterpreting our customer service approach." "Am I?" Maya pulled out her phone, showing the recording of the staff joking about Keller paying to keep certain people out of good rooms. "Because your own employees are on record discussing how Mr. Keller bribes staff to maintain discriminatory policies." Peterson's face went pale. That recording was made without consent. In a public area of a public accommodation, Maya interrupted. Perfectly legal. Just like it's legal for me to document the systematic discrimination happening in this hotel. Peterson's composure was cracking. Miss Robinson, this is just business. We have to keep our most valuable customers happy. Mr. Keller spends significant money here every month. So discrimination is just business? Maya asked, making sure her phone captured every word. We prioritize our loyal, high-spending guests, Peterson said defensively. That's not discrimination, that's customer service. Even when those guests pay bribes to deny service to black customers, Peterson realized he had said too much. I think this conversation is over. But Maya wasn't finished. As she stood in the lobby, she witnessed something that made her blood boil all over again. A black family with 2 young children approached the front desk, clearly excited about their vacation. Maya watched as the same pattern of discrimination unfolded. Questions about their reservation, suggestions for more suitable accommodations, and barely concealed hostility from the staff. Maya couldn't stand by and watch it happen again. She approached the family and spoke quietly to the father. "Excuse me, but I couldn't help overhearing. What room did you originally book?" "The family suite on the 8th floor." The man replied, looking confused. "But they're saying it's not available and offering us 2 separate rooms instead." Maya turned to the receptionist. "Why isn't there a reserved room available?" "That's between the hotel and our guests," the receptionist replied coldly. Maya handed the father her business card. Not her Richardson hospitality card, but a personal card with just her contact information. "Document everything," she said quietly. "Every conversation, every change to your reservation, everything, and call that number tomorrow." Peterson appeared beside Maya like a shark sensing blood in the water. "Miss Robinson, I'm going to have to ask you to stop interfering with our guest relations." "I'm not interfering," Maya replied calmly. "I'm advising fellow guests of their rights. If you continue disrupting hotel operations, I'll have you removed from the property entirely," Peterson threatened, his voice loud enough for the entire lobby to hear. Maya looked around at the other guests watching this confrontation. At the black family being denied proper accommodations. At the systematic discrimination happening in broad daylight. Tomorrow, Peterson would learn that threatening to remove the hotel's owner from her own property was a career-ending mistake. As Maya walked away from the confrontation, Sarah approached her nervously. The young staff member looked around to make sure no managers were watching before speaking in a low voice. "Miss Robinson, I need to tell you something," Sarah whispered. "What you're seeing isn't new. Mr. Keller has been paying managers here for years to keep certain guests out of the better rooms. It's not just him, there are several regular guests who have these arrangements." Maya felt her heart racing as Sarah confirmed what she had suspected. "How long has this been going on?" "Since before I started working here 2 years ago," Sarah replied. "The managers call it maintaining clientele standards. But everyone knows what it really means. Some of us have complained to corporate, but nothing ever changes." Maya pulled out her phone and called the Richardson legal counsel directly. When attorney Jennifer Chen answered, Maya didn't waste time with pleasantries. "Jennifer, it's Maya. I need termination papers prepared for James Peterson, front desk manager at Pinnacle Flagship Property. I also need a full investigation into systematic discrimination practices across all Pinnacle locations." "Maya, what grounds?" "Documented discrimination, accepting bribes to deny service to minority guests, and threatening to remove paying customers from the property for objecting to racist treatment." "I'll have the papers ready by morning," Jennifer replied. "Maya, this is going to be a media firestorm when it breaks." "I'm counting on it," Maya said grimly. "I want every hotel manager in America to see what happens when you allow discrimination in your property." As Maya hung up the phone, she realized that tomorrow wouldn't just be about revealing her identity and firing discriminatory staff. Tomorrow would be about sending a message to the entire hospitality industry that the days of subtle racism and discriminatory policies were over. The woman they had tried to humiliate was about to humiliate them in front of the entire country. And every minute of discrimination they had put her through was about to cost them everything they had worked for. But first, Maya had one more night to endure in her punishment room, listening to service elevators and planning the corporate reckoning that would change Pinnacle Hotels forever. The next morning at 8:47 a.m., everything changed. Maya woke up to a text message that would transform the hotel forever. All members in position. Legal team ready. It's showtime. 7 black SUVs had been positioned around the hotel since dawn. Board members and corporate attorneys were entering through different entrances. Eleanor through the main lobby, Jonathan through the parking garage, Thomas through the side entrance. Each arrival was timed perfectly. Robert Keller noticed the first SUV from the executive lounge, then the second, then the third. His coffee cup paused halfway to his lips as he watched serious-looking people in expensive suits entering from multiple directions. Something was very wrong. Keller rushed to the lobby, where Peterson was frantically trying to figure out why corporate-looking people were suddenly in his hotel. What's going on? Who are all these people? Maya emerged from the elevator, calm and composed despite her night in the punishment room. You! Keller pointed at Maya, his voice shaking. This is your doing. Whatever you think you're doing won't work. I practically own this place. Maya smiled serenely. You own this place? That's interesting. The hotel's PA system crackled. All staff report to the grand ballroom immediately for an emergency meeting. This is mandatory. Peterson looked panicked. I didn't call any meeting. Who authorized this? Maya checked her phone. You're about to find out. The ballroom filled with confused employees. Maya's board members positioned themselves throughout the room. Peterson tried to block Maya from entering. This meeting is for employees only, Peterson insisted. Eleanor stepped forward with unmistakable authority. She most certainly belongs here. Corporate lawyer Jennifer Chen took the microphone as Maya walked to the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, Pinnacle Hotels has been acquired by Richardson Hospitality Group. The room erupted in shocked whispers. The new owner is here with us today, Jennifer continued. Maya stepped to the microphone. The room fell silent as staff recognized the guest they had discriminated against. My name is Maya Richardson. I am the founder and CEO of Richardson Hospitality Group. I recently bought and own this hotel and employ every person in this room. Peterson's face went green. Keller's coffee cup shattered on the floor. For 2 days, I experienced systematic discrimination that violates federal law, Maya continued. Security footage began playing showing Keller's bribes, Peterson's threats, and Maya's mistreatment. This ends today, board member Jonathan announced. Eleanor stepped forward with termination papers. Mr. Peterson, your employment is terminated immediately. She called out more names. Marcus from the executive lounge, David from front desk, Robert from security. Each received pink slips for participating in discrimination. Keller tried to slip away, but Maya's voice stopped him. Mr. Keller, we need to discuss your platinum status. Eleanor handed him a document. You're permanently banned from all 47 Richardson properties nationwide. You can't do that. Keller sputtered. You bribed staff to discriminate against minority guests, Maya replied calmly. I have footage of everything. I'm shutting down this hotel for 6 months, and afterwards we will reform it. Maya turned to the remaining staff. Every guest will be treated with dignity, regardless of race or appearance. Discrimination results in immediate termination. She gestured to Sarah. Sarah Williams is entering our management training program immediately. Sarah's eyes filled with tears of gratitude. This hotel will become a place where everyone is truly welcome, Maya concluded. Maya finally checked into the presidential suite, escorted by her board of directors. The room she should have received 2 days earlier. 6 months later, Sarah had been promoted to assistant general manager. Customer satisfaction reached record highs, and revenue increased 30%. The transformation was complete. Maya's story proves that discrimination isn't just morally wrong. It's bad for business. According to studies, 63% of minority travelers report experiencing hotel discrimination. Did you enjoy this story? Hit the subscribe button now and share to others so they can learn too. See you in our next video.